know, boy. Good Lord. Game delayed by weather. Cowboys leading the Steelers 6-3. A lot of missed opportunities for Dallas in this one. 3 trips to the red zone, no touchdowns, 2 turnovers for the Cowboys. And what we thought, Sean, would be an ugly-ass game has proven to be a pretty ugly-ass game.
Yeah, pretty ugly. At least the Cowboys' defense without Micah and Tank has played pretty well. I mean, Pittsburgh is running the ball okay, I suppose, but Justin Fields is making some plays with his legs, I guess, but he's not really hurting you with the pass. And, yeah, you look at those red zone trips, we could be talking about at least a 12-3 game at this point if you just settle for field goals. But that last Dak interception was really rough because I don't know if it was miscommunication between he and CD, but even if CD breaks differently, he's still throwing that ball into double coverage.
Yeah, I don't understand what the miscommunication was, whether it's a wrong route, but you're right. Even if they communicated correctly on that, that's probably not the play to make. You've seen the Cowboys with a couple of plays that to Jalen Tolbert, Jake Ferguson to get themselves in position. But, man, the fumble with Dak not being aware that T.J. Watt was bearing down on him. He saw the pressure in front of him, and I think he was just kind of going to cower down and take the sack and didn't realize that T.J. Watt was bearing down on the right side of him, and he gets that fumble. It was ugly first half. The Cowboys, if you want to say dominated, I think you can. 202 total yards to 89. The Cowboys just can't run the football, and it's probably, Sean, the first time that they've acknowledged and realized that, screw it, we can't run the football. We're not going to do it. We're just going to use the short passing game as our running game.
Yeah, little flares to Turpin. Heck, there was a quick out route to Ferguson that basically is a run. So I'm okay with that. If they don't feel like they can run the ball, okay. I like putting the game in Dak's hands because I think he's a better quarterback than Fields, but he's made 2 bad mistakes. You know, on the fumble, he should have just gotten rid of the ball way sooner. Instead, it's a turnover and then the bad interception late. So those are his only blemishes. And just to add injuries to an ugly first half, Tyler Guyton left the game. Not sure the severity there, but Marshawn Nealon's not coming back. You were hoping he could step up and be a pressure player today. But outside of the injuries, I think the defense has actually done a pretty good job. Jordan Lewis has been really good in coverage. And it feels like George Pickens hasn't even been brought up in the first half, which that's good for the secondary considering Kalen Carson didn't start this game. He's out.
2 targets, 1 catch for 8 yards for George Pickens. And if you can keep him under wraps, well, Justin Fields is just we've been saying it all week on the program. If you don't allow him to get outside to use his feet to win or to get, to gain yards, then you'll be okay. Let him beat you in the pocket. And he's 4-9 for 35 yards, sacked 3 times by the Cowboys. He's just not a threat to beat you with his arm. And I think the Cowboys are doing a good job. Now, Pittsburgh decided toward the end of that half, we're just going to run the damn ball just to see what the Cowboys can do. And they've run 18 times, and they've dropped back to pass only 12 times. And the Cowboys' defense has held up. With their injuries that's being out, man, they've played decently, gotten some pressure on Justin Fields, and the back half of that defense is playing really well also. But, man, they've got to start finishing drives with touchdowns instead of field goals and turnovers. And then I think Mike McCarthy and his coaching staff, they got to get into it. They didn't challenge the Brooks spot on his catch and then challenge the recovery of the fumble, which just didn't seem to make any sense. And one wasted drive where they got that was the Brooks catch. And they hurried to the line. It's 3rd down and 1. And then they drop back the pass and they get the intentional grounding. It just seemed like they weren't in sync. And it almost feels like, as well as this Pittsburgh defense seems to be, that they can be had. And the Cowboys defense is not playing a bad game. They just can't finish drives. They have the turnovers. And then they kind of shoot themselves in the foot as far as trying to gain some traction when they're trying to actually move the ball. That may have been the quickest 3-and-out I've ever seen in my entire damn life.
Yeah. You talk about this Steelers defense. They're good, and obviously T.J. Watt's a problem, and I think Terrence Steele could use a little bit of help, maybe a little 12 personnel in the second half. I don't know. But there are little pockets in their secondary that can be exposed. I mean, Tolbert, they were playing cover 2 on his deep ball near the end of the half. That was great to see. But if you go back to last week's loss to the Colts, their secondary just allowed some intermediate throws, and it feels like Tolbert's feeling a good rhythm with his quarterback. You need to get the ball to CD a little bit more, maybe in space over the middle, maybe some slant routes. I feel like you could continue to move the ball. And I'm with you. You got to finish in the red zone. And, heck, even if you settle for field goals, the tone of this game, you just got to avoid turnovers because maybe field goals is good enough because you have the best weapon at kicker in the NFL in Brandon Aubrey.
Well, you just wasted 2 trips in the red zone to get two other field goals that Brandon Aubrey would have hit. Score would have been 12-3, and it would have felt like Pittsburgh may have panicked a bit and started throwing the ball a little bit more, and that's exactly what you want Pittsburgh to do. So not getting those field goals and now just having it a 6-3 game, Pittsburgh can just run their offense. They get the ball out of the second half, and just interesting to see how they're going to attack Dallas and their defense that's been playing really well. Are they going to continue to try to run the football? They averaged 3.7 yards a carry, and tonight they have 3.9. So they're just doing exactly what they do. But the Cowboys' defense has been real stout. They've had some pre-snap penalties that's kind of taken themselves out of these offensive possessions.
Yeah, both teams have had pre-snap tonight.
Right. Both teams have 5 penalties. Pittsburgh for 35 yards, Dallas for 30. So it'll be interesting to see how they're going to go about in the second half. The Cowboys just have to finish those drives. They're moving the football up and down the field, but turnovers and not being able to score touchdowns have been a problem all year long, and it's kind of plaguing them again tonight. So
we talked about it during the week and on the pregame today. CeeDee Lamb hasn't been a big factor in the second half of just about any game.
Right.
Let's go. You're the top paid receiver in the NFL.
Yep.
Let's go make some plays.
Yeah. Targeted 4 times in the first half. He needs about 6 or 7 more targets in the second half if the Cowboys expect to win this game. Don't forget the postgame show.
Yeah.
Will be on the ticket tonight.
Deep into the night.
Deep night one as we had the weather delay, and it's Sean, and it's myself, and it's Matt McLaren. We'll be here after the game, so make sure you listen to the ticket.
Call in
after the Cowboys game tonight. Bye-bye.
Let's go win.